Hello and welcome back to Dutchman Seb. Today is a somber day. It's not always bright and cheerful on Dutchman Seb's channel. Well, today I have a bit of sad news. The beautifully rebuilt Honda S2000 has had a little bit of a failure. Let me show you exactly what I mean. That is not how a piston is supposed to look like. It's not good. This is very rough and you can feel it with your fingers. It's like bits of metal and it's completely seized on the skirt. This here below the pistons and oil rings is called the skirt area. It's kind of like a dress. And if you look at the other side, it's not as bad, but also starting to show scuffs and scratches. Now this is due to reusing original pistons in a sleeved block. The pistons expand at a faster rate than the original clearance on these engines. This is a FRM cylinder lined original block. So the FRM lining prevents, the wear and tear of the heat from the pistons and the cylinder wall lining. So when you do a sleeve block, basically means you bore away the original sleeves and you put in iron sleeves. The material actually becomes non-compatible again. So the clearances from factory spec no longer apply. You actually need to replace your pistons with 2618 forged aluminium pistons. These are forged iron pistons from factory. So iron and iron have much higher expansion rates when they get hot. And this is why we got seizure on the pistons. So luckily the bearings themselves didn't get too much metal particles and metal shaving, so the bearings still look okay. They're going to need to be replaced. We're going to need to order new pistons and new con rods because the new con rods, the original con rods won't fit the new pistons. So we're going to have to order new pistons, new con rods, and maybe have the sleeves redone. The sleeves may be able to be saved with honing. This is, you can see the head gasket. We actually had failure between all four cylinders, between the cylinder wall lining. You can see a bit of the MLS material is missing. And there was also material missing here on the water jacket. So what was happening is there was compression between the cylinders getting into each of the different chambers and then getting into the water jacket. So it was forcing out coolant, which was overflowing from the coolant. You'll see that in my track video that the coolant bottle actually started spraying on the windshield. I immediately went off the track and then started to turn the car off, found out that the cooling system was getting overpressured. Now that can be from one of two things: the car running too hot, boiling the coolant. The car has a stock oil cooler as well, which passes coolant through the oil cooler, and that could also overheat the coolant, which maybe overheated the cooling system, overpressurized it. But the main suspect that I had was from the gasket pushing exhaust gases into the cooling jacket. So that's probably the main reason for the system losing pressure or overpressurizing the cooling system, forcing coolant out of the system, causing the system to then run at low pressure, which means that your coolant won't circulate, which then overheated the block and resulted in the pistons expanding too much and seizing the cylinders. As you can see, I can't get to the block right now, but you'll see when the block is out, their cylinder walls have actually been damaged. So those need to be bored again, or hopefully just only honed if the damage is not too bad. And then hopefully we can still save the rest of the engine. You can see here now on the lift, the crankshaft is exposed where the piston was removed, and that looks quite okay. But we need to check the rest of the cylinders as well. So once those come out, we'll be able to tell if the crank is also still good with the ACL bearings that we use, which are going to need replacing as well. So not a happy ending, not exactly what you want when you've taken your car at the track for the first time after a 3-year rebuild and spent a lot of time and money to make sure that it's going to be done well and hopefully last for 10, 20 years. So it's back to the drawing board again, ordering new pistons, new connecting rods, having the sleeves re-honed again, and the head skimmed. The deck has to be flattened again to make sure that there's no leaking between the cylinders. And then from there we can start again. And it's going to be a bit of a long process. Hopefully the car will be back on the road soon, and I'll leave it in good hands with the machine shop and the engine builder to make sure that we have compatible materials again in the future, with the OEM pistons being removed for something like a CP Carilla forged aluminium piston with 2618 material, and a connecting rod like a Brian Crower, something that's going to last for a long time. These are NA engines with high RPM, around 9,000 RPM. High compression ratio, 11:1 compression ratio from stock. So they do take you know, a lot of additional heat. And that's why you need to make sure that your clearances are correct. Everything is to spec. Your oil clearances are correct in your oil galleries and in your bearings, on your connecting rods and on your main bearings. So it just means a little bit more work, a little bit more time, and a lot more money, unfortunately. So thanks again for watching. Stay tuned, and don't forget to support us with hitting the thumbs up, and definitely subscribe for more of this content. Thanks again. Ciao. I get quite a lot of comments and questions from a lot of people online, social media, YouTube comments, and I thought maybe I would share with you guys how is it exactly that I'm able to do what I'm able to do with the cars. How do I pay for it? How can I afford it? A lot of people are like, oh, that's my dream car. I really wish I could have a car like that. You're so lucky. Well, let me tell you a little bit about my story and why I think you can also do this with your life. Yeah, I started a couple of years ago with just having a dream, you know, just saying, well, I'm not happy with where I am in life right now. What can I do differently to make it happen? I had a regular job. I still do. I work normal hours. Yeah, and I just thought, you know, why not do something, take the risk, be adventurous, try to do something that might have, you know, not a good outcome, but there's a chance it could have a good outcome. So this message goes out to all of you out there who are afraid to take a risk, to try something new. I always believe that you determine your attitude, you determine how far you want to go in life, and if you do a good job, it rubs off on the next thing that you want to do. So if you want to try something in life and you want to do something that you've never tried before, go at it with a positive attitude. Make sure that you are prepared to lose, but also not going out thinking that you're going to lose. Go out there to win, but don't be disappointed if you don't win. When I started YouTube about 8 years ago, I just did it because I loved it. I enjoyed it. I liked cars. I liked racing. I thought I would share my enthusiasm and my passion with all of you out there who have supported me along the channel. I never dreamed or thought that I would get subscribers or people would want to come to my channel to watch my videos. So I just wanted to thank you all for supporting me over all the years and for watching my content. If you found it useful or inspiring, or you just like to see something cool to watch, it's always very difficult to make content that you think other people will enjoy, or content that you think people would want to tune in to watch. So that's one of the big challenges I always found. I found just by filming what I enjoyed, what I thought was cool or interesting, there would be an audience out there for people who also might want to watch it. So do something that you think is that you enjoy, that gives you passion, that makes you enthusiastic. Don't try to fit in with what everybody else is doing. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Just be true to yourself, be true to what you enjoy, what you love in life, and the rest will follow. Yeah, I mean, I haven't yet made a success of it, I would say. I haven't generated any income or revenue streams or advertising revenue or payments from YouTube to a meaningful value. I think I've earned maybe 100 euros from YouTube ad revenue over the years. One or two affiliate programs which came about my Tesla videos, where I've been sent like an accessory to make a video of for a Tesla accessory, and then like an affiliate program where I earn some commission if people buy the products, but they never really took off to make any meaningful values. I think I earned about 8 euros through an affiliate program for commission. So very difficult to make it work financially. If you want to know how I make things work financially, I actually work the last 8 years for American companies where they offer you stocks to work for the company. And those stocks, just by chance, have actually gone up. The first company I worked for was Tesla, and I worked there from 2018 to 2022. And all the stock that I earned at Tesla went up in value like 400%, I think, or more, like 500 or 600% in the years I worked there. So that's one of the ways that I was able to afford the cars, the Supra, the S2000, the Del Sol, the MX-5. The other way is that I have a wife who has a job, I have a job, we both have two incomes, and we keep our monthly expenses low. We don't go out partying, we don't spend our money on cigarettes or alcohol, we don't go out to eat every weekend. I think this weekend was the first time I ate out in like 6 months. Yeah, we just generally don't spend money. We save up a lot of money, we invest our money. Every month before my expenses come off, I take off 15% of my salary to invest in stocks. I put it into the stock market. So we're very cost conscious about keeping our monthly costs low, about saving money, making sure that we don't spend unnecessarily. So when people ask, like, how can you afford to do things? How can you do stuff? I do a lot of things myself. I don't pay people to do work for me. So if I can, I do my own work on my cars. I ask the shops that I need help with to do the cars if I can work with them. Either taking the car apart or putting it back together again. I try to buy my own parts with discounts. I approach companies to ask them if I can get discounts or list the products on my website or on my videos to earn a bit of a discount on the parts. If you don't ask, you don't get, so I always ask, and if the answer is no, then the answer is no. And if the answer is yes, but there's something we want in return, then I see how we can make that work. So this is my advice to you in life. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to try something, even if it doesn't work out. At least you tried. So that would be my advice to you. Always have a positive mindset. Always, be kind to people out there and do the best that you can. As long as you're doing the best that you can, that's the best that you can ever do in life. Don't just give up and say, I tried, it wasn't for me. I still work a 9 to 5. I still work my ass off. I still have a full-time job. So that's one tip and advice. Like, it's never going to just magically overnight make you a millionaire and famous. I still have, a house to pay off. Luckily, all my cars are paid off. Those were all bought with stocks that I had sold to buy my cars. So I mean, I still need to work a full-time job. It's not like I become famous or a millionaire overnight. Guys like people online who got lucky with YouTube algorithms and who got affiliates or sponsorships to pay for the videos to advertise. Things worked out for some people. It didn't always work out for me. So I always just say, keep trying to be positive out there, never stop, never give up, and hopefully you succeed. So maybe this is a good message for you guys out there, and I hope that you guys learn something from here as well. Thanks for watching, and until next time, ciao.